week is Insidious, The Last Key, several years old. That was one of my suggestions for this week. Please check it out. We're going to talk about this fella here. He is a police chief in Maui, and he has been brought into this debacle with Sean Puffy Combs' new allegations. The allegation's been around, but this guy's name has been brought into the specter pertaining to aiding the foolishness allegedly that Sean exacted against this woman. More nonsense. But I also want to start off by saying I want to thank you all for the kind wishes and with my debacle as of late. I found out I have a nodule on the left side of my thyroid that needs to be looked at. A biopsy has been recommended, and I'm just waiting on the date to go to the doctor specialist to get the biopsy. And when I get the results, I'll be glad to share them with you all. Thank you for the kind words and prayers. As most of you know, I do have a thyroid disease. In the summer of 2017, the right side was removed, and I didn't know the whole thing was gone, but when they went in to do the MRI Tuesday evening, the lady said, oh yeah, the whole right side is gone. So basically you're just working with your left side, and obviously she's not doing well since she's got a nice size nodule there. So I'm going to pray that it's benign. We're going to pray for healing and pray for good results. And once again, I want to thank all of you for your kind words. Thank you, Beth. How are you, sweetheart? Thank you so much. We're going to pray that it's not cancerous. We're going to lean on faith, and we're just going to pray for good news. I'm kind of perturbed only because I've been getting tests for years, blood work and things. So it's kind of upsetting to know that something's grown to that size, 3.2 centimeters, and I've been getting blood works when I'm supposed to, and you would think you would have seen something, in the blood work. So I'm a little perturbed at that because you don't want this thing to get to a big size. That's when they want to, they definitely want to do a biopsy when it starts getting large. And that's why I'm kind of upset that it's at the size that it is. And I've been, taking my meds every day and going to get blood work done when recommended by, my medical provider. But anywho, I mustered up some strength to do this live because, I went out last night. I was kind of down from that. But anyway, I'm here. Let's get down to business. We're going to talk about Puffy Combs. We're going to talk about Wendy Williams and this nonsense coming out of the East Coast of this man held hostage inside of a home by his stepmother, okay? It's very sick information. I'm going to show you his picture, and then I'm going to read you the information. This is the man who's been brought into this allegation alongside Sean Puffy Combs. He's a Maui police chief. John Petelier tells TMZ, I have no connections whatsoever to any individuals named in the lawsuit. The allegations suggesting his involvement are entirely unfounded. I am confident that the evidence will demonstrate these claims to be false and will expose those who are deliberately trying to manipulate the legal system to spread misleading narratives. 2018, while serving as a captain in Las Vegas, I was honored by the Rape Crisis Center for his exceptional leadership. Wait a minute. And to community safety, specifically through my role as champion of the Stay Safe program dedicated to sexual assault prevention. These baseless allegations not only are wrong, but also lack of respect for victims of abuse whose voices deserve to be heard and supported with compassion and integrity. Diddy's alleged sexual assaults were aided by Maui's chief of police, this according to an amended lawsuit that also named NFL wide receiver Odell Beckham Jr. and influencer Drewski as co-conspirators. Here's the deal. A lawsuit claims John Petelier, while on a trip to California, pretended to be a local sheriff in 2018 after a woman named Ashley Parham claims Diddy and others violently gang raped her. If you don't remember, Parham claims she was set up by Shane Pierce, a mutual alleged associate of Diddy's, to be sexually assaulted at his apartment after she made a comment on a phone with the rap mogul about how he murdered Tupac. She says she went over to Pierce's apartment and sat down to watch a movie. Diddy and his entourage allegedly robbed and raped her. Parham claims she eventually fled the house and a neighbor called the police, which is when Patelia, who was allegedly working security for Diddy at the time of this alleged incident, told Prom and her neighbor they had received several noise complaints and instructed Prom to go home. She says Patelia did not offer to take her home, called for emergency services like an ambulance, or offer to take her to a hospital, and he did not offer to help her recover her clothing or other personal effects from the apartment where she was allegedly raped. This sounds so strange to me. He was allegedly working security for Diddy, okay? Okay, as we told you, Patelia, who became Maui's chief of police in 2021, is far from the only person named in the amended complaints. Sorry about that, everybody. Which also leveled accusations against NFL wide receiver Beckham. OBJ, who Prom claims participated in the rape, has blasted the claims, calling them stupid, and says he's never been to the city where the alleged rape is said to have happened. Diddy's team has also denied the allegations. Worth noting, Maui County Mayor Richard Benson has called on Patelia to be put on administrative leave pending an investigation due to the lawsuit. Patelia denied all allegations against him in a statement released to local Hawaii media. They have reached out to Mr. Patelia, but so far no word back. TMZ is the source of this information. Once again, here's a picture of Mr. Patelia. So we hear that he says he was broke and living with his mother at the time of this alleged rape that happened at this man's apartment that was friends with Puffy and the young lady. And then we have an Odell Beckham and a Drewski brought into this also, this alleged rape. So, Mr. Patelia, you're saying what? You don't know the lady? You don't know Sean Puffy Combs? You weren't there at that house when she was allegedly raped. Is that what you're saying? And I think it's weird that you said you were poor and broke living with your mother. So then we have to ask that question because you opened that Pandora's box. Why were you a grown man living with your mother? Help me understand. A man working in law enforcement living with his mother. I don't know your age, so we're talking about quite a few years ago. 2018, 8 years ago, 7 years ago rather. You don't look like a spring chicken. So how old were you? I'm just curious. I'm tired of talking about Sean Puffy Combs because it just goes on and on and on with this black man. Everybody coming out in drones, airplanes, jets with allegations. And I'm not here to say that they're lying, but what I'm saying is I'm tired of talking about it. I want this case to go to trial. Whatever happens, happens. Because it's just ridiculous. You have all these people. You got tapes of sex tapes, filming. The people don't look like they're aware of the filming. Some look drugs. Some look like children. And that's a problem. So long as somebody's a child in the video, they can't consent to sex. That's the law. You know, some dirty birds believe that. Oh, well, they looked at me. They flirted with me. It's a child. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a child flirting with you. I don't care if they're 16. So what? You're supposed to know better. I'm over this nonsense with Sean Puffy Combs. It just goes on and on and on. These allegations. Then we had Jay-Z brought into it, and then that young lady dropped those she dropped that suit against him. Then he wants to sue her. Why? She dropped it. Move on. Keep it moving. You should want the subject to die down. You're adding fuel to the fire by wanting to sue somebody who you know ain't got a pot to piss in. She ain't got no damn money. What you want to sue her for? I would have been glad that she dropped the suit so people could quit talking about it. You wanting to sue her keeps the story going. You just want to sue her because you want her name out here so people will know who she is, to shame her. Now, you can look at it two ways. He wants to shame her because he did rape her, or he wants to shame her because she's lying. Take your pick. But all of this is just absolutely ridiculous. And I'm just so sick of hearing about this deviant ass heathen. Now, Wendy Williams. The latest gossip is that Wendy's niece tried to take her out to eat, took her to eat before sending her back to that damn facility in New York. And they decided to file a kidnapping charge against the niece. Well, everybody knows that Wendy has told the world she can't come and go as she sees fit, which they say she can, which we know that's a lie, because if Wendy could come and go, she wouldn't be in there. Why would she want to be in there? She's already told everybody that there are 80, 90-year-old people in there who don't have any memories. It's a memory unit. So why would a 60-year-old woman want to be in a high-dollar nursing facility with no access to money, no way to accept inbound calls, nobody can visit her? Why would she want to live like that? So that's a lie. You all are doing damage control. And this lawyer, this judge, this old dirty woman judge who wants Wendy to be quiet. You want her to be quiet because you don't want the truth out. So take it to a jury trial, because I don't think too many people in New York are going to vote to keep this woman locked up in a facility when she's already passed cognitive tests to say she's aware of her faculties. She knows who the president is. She knows her name. She knows her mother's name. Just let it go. Everybody needs to let it go. Let the woman be free. She wants to go out here and start drinking, getting high again. That will be on her. That's how I look at life. There comes a point when you just leave people be. She's an older person. She is not a child. She is not a child. She's a 60-year-old woman. So if she walks free today, tomorrow, if she decides she wants to drink a glass of martini and then starts drinking a whole damn bottle of vodka, let her. Just let her be just done with it. Because at this point, this is just never ended, and it's sickening to keep going round and round and round. You don't want to talk to the public. Then you say, oh, well, you're not obeying my rules. And I don't think you are in a situation where you can take care of yourself, or you know what's in your best interest. Well, how do you know what's in her best interest? You don't even know her. And the person who's over her as a guardian, she don't know her. She don't even talk to her. They've already said the lady went to the hospital and wouldn't even hold a conversation with Wendy Williams. So how are you going to have her as your ward and you don't even hold a conversation with her? So that means you don't even have a relationship with Wendy Williams. I think there's a lot of people who are in cahoots to get this woman's money. You know, and as I tell people, I don't believe in conspiracies, but there's something off with this Wendy Williams nonsense. And I've said it before in my video. I believe somebody from Wells Fargo knows Sabrina. Sabrina knows the judge, and they all know this person who manages or owns this New York facility. Somebody knows somebody. Because it looks like to me, you all are trying to do damage control by saying the niece kidnapped her. How could she kidnap somebody out of a locked building? The woman has told you she has to be escorted to the bottom floor to get out. Somebody has to open the door and let her out. No random person can just come in. So how can she be kidnapped? Because she wasn't. Police intervened. She was let out, or they came in and got her out. They took her to the ambulance, took her to the hospital. And then the woman wanted to freshen up her clothes, which is her right to take a fucking bath. She has a right to eat. And you know that you have not been doing right by this lady. So now you want to loop the niece into it and say, oh, she kidnapped her from here. No, she didn't kidnap her from there. That woman was in Miami when Wendy Williams got taken out of that nursing facility. She wasn't even in New York. So how could she kidnap her? She flew to New York when she found out her aunt was in the hospital. There's no kidnapping. So see, this is what I keep trying to tell everybody about being grown. And this is a great lesson for young people as well. This rush to becoming an adult, this rush to think, oh, I can't wait to become an adult, live on my own. Nobody can tell me what to do, how to live. Well, as you see, you could be an adult and have somebody overseeing your every fucking move. You have people who are under guardianships, payees, people who are on Social Security checks, disability checks. They don't have any discerning fortitude over their own funds. Somebody has to pay their rent, their toiletries, buy them toilet paper, food, all of that. They don't even have access to their own money. You can end up this way. Whether you are mentally disabled, you're an alcoholic, you're a drug addict, somebody deems you mentally unfit, you can end up a Wendy Williams or Britney Spears story. Now, the Britney Spears versus the Wendy story, they're very different in how they each got into the guardianship. But the point is they were adults when they got into it. That's the point. And I'm sure they didn't want to be in them. And look how many years it took Britney to get out from under hers. So this is what I'm saying. Your behavior and your actions, you could end up just like these two women. That's my point. That's why we always say never say never. Imagine being 60 years of age and having to fight for basic rights to go somewhere, talk to people, visit people, have access to a phone, iPad, internet. This woman can't even operate a computer, no access to a computer, no access to a cell phone. She has a landline that cannot receive phone calls, but she can dial out. What's the point? To a more restrictive place. So as somebody said on the Breakfast Club, how more restrictive can it get? Except for she can't go nowhere and she can't talk to nobody on the phone, period. What is this, modern day slavery? You have people who live in nursing homes, assisted living, and they have more freedom than Wendy Williams has. This is ridiculous. I pray she gets free, and and I don't even have to repeat it again. When Wendy Williams gets free, if she decides to drink herself to death, that would be her decision, okay? That's how I look at it at this point. She wants to give her debit card out, give her checkbook out. Sorry about that, everybody. There comes a point when you have to leave grown people to their own device. They have to fend for themselves. And I get it. Nobody should be taken advantage of, but we also have to learn that people are people and they do have the right to navigate. And people are used every day. Let's keep it real. Whether they are millionaires and they make $25,000 a year. To give out your money, give out your time, give a person a place to live, buy people things. It's a choice. And although she wasn't in her right state of mind because she was on that sauce, but she loved her child and she allowed him to use her cards. And it is what it is. The money's gone. Can't get it back. But with everything that's been said, the woman appears to be aware because she hasn't been on alcohol and substances for 3 years. Hell yeah, she's in a better state. She can think better, talk better because she ain't on no booze. But like I said, if she decides to go back, leave it alone. Let her do what she wants to do. Just let it go. I'm at that point, I can say, speaking for my own life, leave people be. Let them be. We're not talking about children. We're talking about an older person, middle age, 60. She want to go back out here and start drinking or doing whatever she wants to do. That's her damn business. I wouldn't say a word. I wouldn't go try to get another guardianship. Leave her alone. Just let it go. Because one thing you have to remember, she is a user of substances. And most people consider you still an addict. So she still has that against her, being free of alcohol and drugs. She still has the propensity to go out here and still get high and drink again because it's in her. She's done it before. And they say once an addict, always an addict. So she has the odds against her anyway. But hopefully she knows that one wrong slip up, one wrong turn, she could be back where she came from. Somebody's calling, Department of Human Services, Adult Protective Services. Hey, you need to go check on her. I see she's been at the liquor store. She got 5 bottles of vodka in her bag, blah, blah, blah. And then she's right back where she started. So she ain't going to be able to go buy no liquor nowhere, no way. They're going to be talking about it and blogging about it. She's not going to have any privacy. She's not going to even be able to go out to dinner. Somebody's going to be sitting there with a camera trying to see what she's drinking in a glass. It ain't going to be the life that she really thinks she's going to have the freedom that she wants. She'll be free, but there'll be eyes in the sky. And I'm sure there'll be some messy Karen Ken will be right back meddling. Oh, she's at the package store and she bought some wine and some vodka and some whiskey, blah, blah, blah. And then here we go. We'll be starting this mess all over again. I say leave her alone, leave her be. Now, the third part of this live stream, the last subject matter of the hour. How does this guy end up in this house held captive for 20 years? Father dead. He also, in my opinion, was a party to it because he lived in this house with his stepwife and his son. So we can't blame the dead man or the dead man can't stand account because he's dead. But I do believe the father knew exactly what was going on in his house. He either orchestrated and or allowed it with his wife. She now has been arrested for abuse of a able-bodied adult, as she should be. She needs her hide beat. Let's get down to business, everybody. Welcome to the Vault XL. If you'd like to donate to this great network, $McAndrew 129 Cash App. This is atrociousness, and this goes to show you you don't know people. You don't know what's going on behind closed doors. You don't know how people are behaving. You don't know how children are being treated. You don't know what type of relationships people have. You don't know people. And I'm sure every day that you all get up now and walk outside your house, your apartment, you're going to look over at the neighbor's house. You're going to look at that apartment door and wonder, what the hell's going on over there? Exactly. What the hell is going on over there across the street from you? Hell, what's going on in your house? You don't know people.
With a story that's making headlines across the country today. A Waterbury mother is charged with keeping her stepson captive in the family home for 20 years. 56-year-old Kimberly Sullivan appeared in court yesterday to answer charges. Officials say the investigators became aware of what was going on after they say that our 32-year-old son intentionally set a fire at the Blake Street home in Waterbury back in February, telling police, and we're quoting, "I wanted my freedom."
This victim, 31 years old, was 5'9", 68 pounds. He had a body mass index of 11%, under 13%. He was in the stages of dying.
He was not locked in a room.
She
did not restrain him in any way. She provided food. She provided shelter. She is blown away by these allegations.
You know I'm about to pop my damn lid. 68 pounds, and you, sir, have the nerve to sit on a live TV broadcast and say this dirty bat ain't done nothing? Well, how did he get that way? Is this man mentally disabled? Mentally slow, autistic? What's wrong with him? Why was he locked away for years? He has not been seen since the age of a preteen. Okay? Preteen. Stay woke, everybody. 68 pounds. He's a grown-ass man. Body mass under the legal percentage for death. I just told you right here. 11%. And you want to get up here and speak before the court and the news and say, she ain't done nothing. She gave him a roof over his head. Well, he set that fucking roof on fire now, didn't he? He's willing to die in there so somebody could see the fire and render him aid. He's lucky to be alive. Just imagine what he's gone through living in this house, being starved to death, no interaction with the outside world, probably mistreated, beat, all of those things, and sets a fire to a room with hand sanitizer, paper, to free himself. And you, sir, have the nerve to say, my client ain't done nothing. She's appalled. She's surprised. She's shocked. Well, I ain't, because we know there are dirty birds out here. And when you look at her, she's got features of Lori Vallow Daybell. Look at her with this stupid eyeliner on her damn eye and a line up here. Where are you going with that eyeliner all the way up there? Look like a damn fool.
The defense attorney said it was the boy's now deceased biological father that dictated how he was raised, and his client is being falsely accused. Waterbury officials have just wrapped up a news conference, and NBC Connecticut's Jennifer Jones joins us live now from Waterbury with all the late-breaking details as to what they had to say. Jen?
Yeah, well, Waterbury police say this small room this now man was living in and locked in, there are signs appearing that there were locks on that door, was worse than a jail cell. They say it had slanted ceilings, it was very small, very tight, more like a storage room with no bathroom, no heat, no air, and they are horrified by what this man went through the course of his life.
33 years of law enforcement, this is the worst treatment of humanity that I've ever witnessed. I mean, it's shuddering to think that someone would treat any person, let alone a family member or someone that was entrusted as a guardian or a parental figure in this way.
So how did this happen? Well, in just a moment, you're going to hear from a former principal who says they made more than 20 calls to DCF to report this boy through the matter of years, from kindergarten through 4th grade. Police are telling us DCF.
What did you say? What did she just say? 20 times. From kindergarten to 4th grade. That's 6 to 10. Or 5 to 10 years of age. I want you to think about that. 20 times the school's calling. For what reason? Child abuse, child neglect, wounds on the child smelly, hair not combed, not coming to school, what? Well, we know he didn't go to school at some point. Are you hearing this? 20 phone calls. And he's lucky to even be 30-something years of age right now. Because it was only a matter of time his organs were going to start to shut down, which would be number one, your heart, your kidneys. Kidneys usually go first. Kidneys fail when you are being starved. Then your heart, they all work in conjunction together. Can't have one without the other. 68 pounds, 20 calls made from kindergarten to 4th grade, and he's lucky to be 30-something years of age, barely hanging on to life before setting that fire in this dungeon. Sloped ceiling, small space, no fan, no heat. How did he even make it this far without no air conditioning, no heat? Did he have a bed, number one? Did he have covers? He only came out 2 hours a day to do chores. So what type of chores was this slave runner running on this person? Since the lawyer wants to say, he can roam around. Well, why ain't nobody seen him? You ought to be ashamed of yourself sitting up here defending this crow. Oh, nasty bat. 2 dirty lawyers standing up there with her. Lying to the camera. She gave him a place to live. The fireman told the story wrong when they saw the locks on the damn door. Oh, so their eyes have deceived them? Those weren't locks on the door? Can you imagine trying to get into a fucking locked room that's on fire? But everybody else got it wrong. I'm so pissed off.
DCF did not share those details with them at the time, and police only did one welfare check in 2005.
Officers went to the house. The house was clean. It was lived in. They spoke to the victim at that point in time, and there were no cause for any alarm or any conditions that existed that would have led officers to believe anything other than a normal childhood.
Okay, so 2005, that's 20 years ago. So he would have been about 10, 11 or so. Why was DHS called in that incident? See, I get sick of these stories because they're all the same. DHS was called, DHS was called, DHS was called, but they didn't find nothing. No, somebody called for a reason. So we're now 20 years later with a man almost dead. Pay attention, everybody. Just held up in this house as a slave boy. No interaction with the outside world. So what will we find out is wrong with the young man? Did he have any type of developmental disabilities before this fire took place? This incident took place in February. I want to know why the fuck is this woman just now arrested yesterday. Help me understand. Second case I heard was somebody that committed elder abuse, child abuse, and they're getting arrested weeks later, month later. Why? And the father, hopefully you burning in hell because you probably orchestrated this treatment of your own damn child, and I bet you they were drawing a damn check off of him. Because why keep them locked up? There has to be a reason, which it don't never make no sense, no way, but you got him locked in there for a reason, probably because she's getting money for him. He probably had a disability, and they were drawing a check for this kid, who's now a grown man, 68 fucking pounds. You know damn well a person 5'9" supposed to weigh more than fucking 68 pounds.
Following that welfare check, Waterbury police are saying that information was then reported back to DCF. Not long after that, the family actually wanted to file a harassment case against the school district for continuously reporting them to DCF, but nothing came of that. DCF went to the home twice, and after the stepmom pulled him from school. That is
Ding, 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 red flag. Now he ain't going to school because you all are harassing them. How you going to sue somebody and you obviously mistreating a kid? That's the reason why they were called. He probably went to school and told them that you all were doing things to him that wasn't right. So that you take him out of school from the 4th grade. So he ain't got a 4th grade education. Are y'all hearing this? Well, we'll take him out of school. They won't leave us alone. All right, somebody says the child was left at 2 years old. Well, the point is, too many calls went into DHS. School was involved for this to even be a story. Because somebody should have went in to see what was going on. So obviously, when they did go in, back in 05, the house is clean, blah, blah, blah. But we hear this story all the time. People are not always living in squalor that mistreat children. That's a myth. That's an ideology. It's not always true. There are people who live in clean homes. My husband will live in the ultimate lie. Lori Vallow Daybell, they're all the same. Nice house, nice car, but the people are crazy. The mamas and daddies are crazy. The daddies or whomever are allowing the mother to mistreat their children. They're being aided. Then they want to now cry on TV. Oh, I know what I did wrong and all. You know, all that. Just like Ruby Frankie's husband. Kevin, you need to be locked up with her. Yes, yes, and yes. Because people saw signs that something wasn't right with you all when she had the YouTube channel. That's before she even met Hildebrandt. So you were right there with your wife being her mistreating your damn kids. Same thing with this shit here with this man who's dead. He knew. Because we're talking about a child in kindergarten. So the father was there for the whole ride. Okay? And you just died. So you knew everything that was going on in this house with this Lori Vallow Daybell repeat. You were right there. Probably the ringleader. I don't really care who orchestrates stuff when it comes to abuse. So long as you're in the room, you're watching, you're participating, you are the problem. I don't care who hit the person with a belt, who didn't bring the water, the bread. It don't matter to me. So long as you living in the house, you are a party to the nonsense. And that's how I look at it.
That is when his life got even worse. The abuse got worse, and it continued for several more years, even decades at this point. Despite this, police are still encouraging people out there to file reports, and it continued for several more years, even decades at the second time. That man said his stepmom pulled him from school. That is when his life got even worse. The abuse got worse, and it continued for several more years, even decades at this point. Despite this.
So he got pulled out of school, 2 times? And the school ain't calling the police or nobody. Don't know the laws up there in Connecticut. But this is why we have laws in Tennessee. Your ass will go to jail. Your kid don't go to school. That's the way it's supposed to be because you're the parent, okay? This state is making you stand account either way, you the child or the parent. They're finding you if your child act out, commit crimes. First time, you get a warning. Second time, you have to pay the piper. Your child go out here and vandalize, catch a charge, gun, steal, rob, whatever. That's right, because you need to be aware of what your children are doing. Same thing. With your kid don't go to school, you go to jail. Because that's your child. It's not the school's child. So you need to be knowing what the fuck your child is doing. And that's the only way you can make some of these old slap-ass parents wake up and realize the school is not the mother and the father. The neighbor is not the mother and the father. You have got to watch your children. You have got to make your children mine. Enough of this babysitting folks. The world cannot watch other people and their children. That's just the way it is. It's not our job to be Captain Save-A-Ho. Just got to save everybody. We can't save everybody. You have to be responsible for your kid. You brought him here. That's your job. You can't handle it, then you pass the baton to somebody else. But you cannot get a free pass to just take your kid out of school because you know you're abusing your kid, and now you see all the eyes on you. Now it's like, oh, well, they harassing me. Well, payback is a you-know-what. Look where Miss Thing is now. Incarcerated. And more than likely, she'll get a bond. Just like that mess up in Michigan. Michigan law says, well, we have to give them a bond. It's not murder. Even though it's, first-degree child abuse of those 3 kids that was left in that condo. They gave that back a reduced bond. $50,000 cash. Which is still a slap on the wrist. Because all it takes is for somebody to feel sorry for and set up a GoFundMe, and you got stupid people who will donate to it to get her out of damn jail.
Police are still encouraging people out there to file reports, to call people and file anything, neighbors, anybody, if you see something suspicious, to speak up. Back over to you.
Jen Jones live for us in Waterbury with such a sad and disturbing story this morning. And we're learning in an exclusive interview with NBC Connecticut, a former principal had an inkling of something terribly wrong happening and tried to intervene decades ago.
We knew it. We reported it. Not a damn thing was done.
Tom Pannone was the man in charge at the now closed Barnard Elementary School a couple of decades ago when the alleged victim was a student there. He says starting at just 5 years old, he and his staff all felt something may have been happening at home after noticing how tiny and thin the boy was. He says the student told them there were times at home when he wasn't allowed to eat, so teachers would often bring food in for him. Court papers say the boy was told to lie and say everything was okay. Pannone says the school made multiple calls to the boy's stepmom.
Say that again. Hold on.
The boy was told to lie and say everything was okay. Pannone says the school made multiple calls to the boy's stepmom, Kimberly Sullivan, and called the Department of Children 20 times. Documents show DCF did respond a couple of times. Pannone recalled the time he asked police to do a wellness check on the child after reports of neighbors seeing him waving from his window.
I'm going to let that information sit right there. In this case, people did the right thing. The school stepped in and called 20 times. That's a lot of times to call about a starving child. The child is telling people out of his own mouth, I'm not eating food. They can see he's underweight. So he is lucky to be alive at 30-something years old. Let's just keep it real. 5 to 30-something, that's a long stretch. How he's lived this long is a mystery to me. I don't know how he's still alive. I don't want to say how he was still in their care. There was too many instances where he should not have been in the care of his parents. Waving out the window. Miserable. No help. Same thing with the kids in Pontiac, Michigan. Guy finally comes forward and says, yeah, they yelled out the window about my car. They liked my car. Little did he know they was in Hell's Kitchen too, in a shit bucket. Too scared to walk out the door to get help because the mother put fear in him. This boy boarded up in a room. eating the bare minimum food from being a young boy up until 30-something years of age. Are you hearing this? And she got the nerve to stand in court with this goofy-ass Lori Vallow Daybell makeup on her face, looking like a streetwalker. I ain't do nothing. My client's innocent. She gave him a place to live. Well, take your children over there. How about that? Go take your children over there. That should be the new law. Anybody that defends a child abuser, they get to keep your kids. How about that? The person who is aiding them, you get to take your child and drop them off over there at their house. Let's see how that works. You want to aid a child abuser? Okay, well, we're going to play like wife swap. You get to drop your children off over there. You willing to drop your children off over there? You willing to gamble with your children? Since you know so much about these child abusers, you aided them. And I get it. Everybody's entitled to representation. That is the law. But to go on TV and speak when they have locks on the doors, visible, I wouldn't say anything. I would only speak in court only. I would not speak to the news about how right my client is. Making a fool out of you and your client.
I don't remember the police literally ever coming to the school to follow up on it, but I remember them saying, yeah, they went to the house, they saw the kid, they talked to the mother, everything's fine. And I would respond by saying, how is everything fine? He's not going to school. I mean,
Pannone tells us he was given updates saying the student was enrolled in Wolcott schools, but when he checked, there was no record of it. He says he was also told the boy was homeschooled despite having two sisters who were enrolled in private school.
Oh, wait just a damn minute. What did you just say? Two sisters in private school? What? Oh, my God.
This entire...
Are you serious? Okay.
Nature preserve was untouched by man. Must be moose mating season or something.
Sorry about the commercials. This is ridiculous. They went to private school. Oh, so this is about favoritism. Let me guess. The boy child is the oldest child that belonged to an outside mother. And the father made children with this dirty bat. They got different mothers. So you decided to mistreat this kid for whatever reason. Don't know who orchestrated. Mother, father, as I said, it doesn't matter. It's still wrong. Wow, 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 wow. There's the queen. Are you serious? Thrift store finds I got earlier this week. Great deal on my pillows. Once again, thank you all for the kind words. And prayers to Miss Lane. Ex-neighbor of mine was murdered over the weekend by her boyfriend husband. He shot her and then killed himself. Prayers to the Lane family. And also that case of that kid found in the river. I don't understand that either. I got to go to my hold on, everybody. I got to go to my, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I got to go to my watch videos because I didn't share the press conference. Hold on. Ain't this about no good? Oh, we're going to leave him here and send the other kids to private school. Ain't this a blip? I don't know what they have to say. We'll hear. So they're in the house with this child being mistreated. This is horrible. I'm trying to see if I can find the press conference. Golly, what a mess. It's all the stuff I've been watching. Queen be watching all kind of crazy stuff. Hold on. I think I passed it up here. This is horrible. Other kids living in the house. Wow, wow, wow. Let's go to Fox now. Live now from Fox. See what they're saying. We'll see what the press conference was about. What a hot mess. That's how it always is. Always children mistreated, some treated better, which is still nasty.
The opportunity to have this conversation with you. As you all know, on February 17th, around 8:40 p.m., Waterbury Fire, Waterbury Police responded to 2 Blake Street on a report of a fire. Officers and fire investigators immediately realized there were some grave concerns about some of the conditions in the house. There were 2 occupants of the house, one being Kimberly Sullivan, the stepmother of the male victim. Officers and fire investigators quickly realized that there was a room in the house that appeared to have locks on it from the exterior portion of the house. They began to speak to the male victim, who disclosed that he was being held captive in the house for an extended period of time, approximately 20 years. The investigation began from that point. We worked closely with the State's Attorney's Office, Maureen Platt, as well as Assistant State's Attorney Don Thurkelson, because frankly, what was being reported was unfathomable to us at that point in time. Through those investigative meetings and through search warrants, we were able to seize physical evidence and conduct interviews and dig up some more information that corroborated the victim's story. This investigation, as the mayor points out, continues. Is very open and very active. We were able to obtain arrest warrants for Kimberly Sullivan. She was arrested yesterday. She was arraigned in Waterbury Superior Court. She's currently, at this point, I'll open the floor up for any questions.
The biological father, we've learned that he recently left the home, and our lawyer is saying that we need to look deeper into his part in all of this. When it comes to the investigation, is he being held accountable at all?
The biological father is deceased in January of 2024. Prior to his death, he was wheelchair bound from some medical conditions.
Also, it was reported to the school system that this boy at the time, now 32-year-old man, he was starving, he was asking other kids for lunch.
Let me interject right here. I'm going to play devil's advocate. Do you have proof he was wheelchair bound and his states of living? Because if she can lock up one child who's now an adult, who's to say the conditions of the husband when he went downhill? How long was he wheelchair bound, number one? Who's to say she didn't have his ass locked up in another room? I'm just saying. What was the conditions that you all found the husband? I'll wait. Old habits die hard. Think about it. A man wheelchair bound. They have upstairs. You can see from the house, it's 2 levels or more. A lot of work taking care of somebody in a wheelchair. I'm just saying. Got to feed them, got to clothe them, got to wipe their butt, change diapers. Are you woke? Because I am. I won't doubt that in the end, she probably was mistreating the husband. Once he became sick, he became a burden just like that kid. So it probably was both of them mistreating the boy, which we know they had to because this goes back to the child being 5. The father was up and well then. So I want you to role play with me for just a second. Imagine you have been abusing your child for many years, treating your other 2 girl children better, put them in private school, feeding them, doting on them, but you're mistreating this boy child for some reason, both parents, other kids, they could be chiming in, mistreating them too. And then poof, voila, the girls go off into the world, do their own thing, I'm assuming, and nobody's left at the house but the mother, stepmother and the father and this boy child locked up in the room. Then the father turns ill, and then she probably turned on him. So I won't doubt he probably ended up just like the boy child. Because guess what? It's extra work taking care of somebody disabled, wheelchair bound. I think most of you know this. They got to go to the bathroom. They got to take a shower. They've got to go to the doctor. They've got to go out. That's work, pushing people, lifting people. You all get my drift, don't you? What was the state of the husband at the time of death? Where did they find him? Did he die at the house? In a room? At the hospital? Nursing home? Somebody get the information? Kindly let the queen know.
Lunch, I mean, is this a failure on the school system that this matter was not taken more seriously?
Probably was.
We're doing some background investigation. There are 2 incidents that we had within our computer system of dealing with that address and with the family back in 2005. One request from DCF to do a welfare check at the location because children that the victim was familiar with hadn't seen him and they were concerned about him. Officers went to the house. The house was clean. It was lived in. They spoke to the victim at that point in time, and there were no any alarm or any conditions.
That's because they put fear in him, and he lied. He lied. But see, that's the thing children don't understand. You need to tell the truth because you are going to be able to stay in that same condition if you lie. Those people are going to leave you there with your perpetrator, your abuser. Don't worry about telling the truth in front of them. Just tell it. I don't want to be here. I'm scared. Run over to the police or the DCS worker. They'll see with their own eyes, okay, this child has fear in them. We got to remove this kid immediately. What fool's going to stand there and leave a kid there if they're crying and welting all over themselves and running up to the worker or the police officer? All right, something's not right here. We got to get this child out of here. But he was fearful. Children don't think like adults. He didn't think, hell, I tell the truth, they'll get me out of here. He was just thinking at that moment, I don't want to talk about it in front of them. That's why you're supposed to have the person step out of the room when you talk to a child. So the child will feel comfortable enough to tell the truth. And then when you come back in the room, you tell them what the child said, and then you kindly get up and say, well, we will be removing the child out of here because the child is not safe until further inquiry. But right now, the child can't stay. Never talk to a child in a room with their perpetrator, alleged perpetrator. Duh.
That existed that would have led officers to believe anything other than a normal childhood and a normal family
well, it wasn't normal.
Existence was occurring. But that was reported back to DCF, and that was the last that we were involved in that particular investigation. We were called back to the house in the latter part of April by the family who wanted to file a harassment complaint against members of the school district, saying that they were continuously reporting them to DCF and felt that they were trying to get the family in trouble and have the family investigated. We have no further information about where that went other than there was no proof.
It went nowhere. That's where it went, Chief. We're now talking about a grown man emaciated, burning in an apartment, burning in a house or upstairs room trying to get to safety. That's where we are. I don't know where it went. Nowhere. That's where it went. Nowhere. All these calls, and yet we are talking about a 30-something-year-old man, damn near dead. Set a room on fire to get to freedom. Are you hearing this? So you just think about all these stories that you've heard over the years of abuse, elderly abuse, children abuse, and imagine what you don't know. Imagine the people walking right by you, living beside you, living the same damn way. You have no idea. Oh, I don't know what happened to those 2 little kids that used to play outside. I don't see them anymore. And you can't go over to the people and ask. You're not friends with them. Hey, where's your son? Where's your daughter? They don't come outside anymore. Where are your children? Now, you got some nosy neighbors. They see you walk into the mailbox. They'll ask you, where's your little girl? Where's your son? I don't see him. Oh, they're over at their uncles, their grandmamas. But you don't know what's the truth. Yeah, she probably was collecting checks for the boy. He probably had something wrong with him. Maybe they felt like he was acting out. I don't know. I don't try to make excuses for why people abuse disabled. They just didn't want to be bothered with him. Outcast, scapegoat. Just somebody to blame. Then it could have been nothing wrong with him. Just didn't like him. And it's sad to say there are people who don't like their own children. But my thing is, hey, how about you? Kids don't like you either. You're even. This is sick. But you can aid 2 other children to go to private school. So what ages did those girls leave the house? I'd like to know. I also like to know that they ever participated in any abuse of this man as a child or as an adult.
Proof provided by the family that there was any type of harassment that was occurring. As school district's concerned, we are looking at those records now. We're working with DCF to look at records that they may have from previous investigations, and that's part of the ongoing investigation.
But people were filing complaints, even if it was with DCF continuously as a family, I guess, alleged. Was there more contact from DCF, and do you know anything about how that worked out?
So the only contact we had was back in April of 2005 when we were notified to conduct that welfare check. And again, we're looking for those records now to determine where that investigation may have gone, but there was no further reported information to the Waterbury Police Department.
So when you had an officer go out there that first time, you're saying everything looked normal, it looked like a normal childhood. But the school district, the principal told us that the child looked really small, malnourished, was drinking from a urinal in school, was taking kids' food. So, I mean, with all that information,
Oh my God. The boy was drinking from the urinal at the school. And I believe also drinking toilet water at the house. Stealing other children's food. Lord have mercy. Life is really bad when you have to drink toilet water. Are you hearing what I'm saying? A child stealing other children's lunches because he's hungry. And yet nobody stepped in to say, your child needs to see a doctor. Your child is underweight for his age. Because if he had went to a doctor probably would have seen signs that the child was not, where he was supposed to be for his age, bone density, all of that. But how are you going to know he never went to the damn doctor? So now you got to ask that question too. Did he ever go to the doctor? We already know that when children are abused, they don't go to the doctor for that reason, because a doctor's going to say, well, your child is awfully small. Is he eating properly? And you're going to lie. Yeah, he eats. I don't know what's wrong with him. Then he probably asks the child, are you eating? Well, he going to lie. Yeah, I'm eating. But as a doctor, you should know better. Okay, something's going on here. So I doubt that he even went to the doctor. Yes, it's very heartbreaking. Because there were too many chances that this child could have been saved, could be a healthy adult, could have a viable lifestyle right now, doing grown people things, living, traveling, friends, girlfriends, boyfriends, whatever. I don't know where he is, but I know he ain't at this nasty house, and the house, it needs to be bulldozed over. This dirty woman. That's a dirty old bat. Lori Vallow Part 2. With that stupid blue eyeliner. You ever notice people like that act like they got mental problems? They always wear all this bright ass makeup, bright orange, bright pink lipstick, blue eyeshadow, blue eyeliner. Too old for that. Look a damn mess. Oh, the house was clean. Couldn't tell that nothing was going on. Well, something was going on. 20 damn calls. 20 calls from the school from kindergarten to 4th grade. Are you serious? People calling, oh, I don't see the kid no more. But the other two girls, they walking around. Okay.
The officer still concluded that at that time?
Well, the officer didn't have that information. So this
right,
former
exactly.
principal is now disclosing all this information. And I believe in the news clips I've reviewed that he was making calls to DCF and other agencies. Waterbury police were never notified by this particular principal about those conditions. So this is all information that is coming out now as this case unfolds.
I believe he said he called police, but you have no record of that.
Well, I
don't think it would have mattered.
That's what he said.
Well, matter if he called the police. They still would have went inside the
He
house.
said that there was some evidence that corroborates.
Within the same situation.
Can you talk any more about what that is, or how do you go about corroborating a story like this that's so extraordinary?
Right. So there's some physical evidence that was seized from the house that does corroborate the fact that that room did have exterior locks on it and a number of different styles of exterior locks. As was explained during an interview with the victim throughout the years, it appeared that the locks increased in security levels as time progressed, and obviously he became older and maybe a little bit stronger.
Now, for the stupid lawyer representing this dirty bat that says that he could come and go as he wanted to, then what was the need for the locks on the doors? Why are you locking rooms in your house? For what reason? Help me understand. Since she provided a roof over his head and he could come and go as he saw fit, but ain't nobody seen him in years, and there are locks on the doors, then why were they there, Mr. Attorney? Since you know your client, you've met her all of day one. Just spewing out nonsense to the public, hoping some gullible creature would believe this bullshit. She's not that type of person, oh, blah, blah, blah. She's appalled. I'm appalled. Queen is appalled. You don't know that lady from a can of fucking paint. You sit up here looking like a fucking buffoon, talking to the news like she's your sister. Well, she's not your sister, she's not your mother, she's not your cousin, she's not your daughter, she's a dirty bird. And she's been caught. And he was failed. Because this story looks like it wouldn't have mattered if Jesus had went to the house. He still would have been there. They don't see nothing. DHS workers go in, they don't see nothing. But somebody still should have said, well, we want to take them in to the doctor. We'll let the doctor decide. Not the police, not a DHS worker. How about that? But that's water under the bridge now. And this man was willing to burn himself alive. I want you to think about that now. Damn near 30 years of abuse to only set your room on fire to free yourself to freedom. That's deep. This man was willing to be burned alive to free himself.
So that's certainly one component, and then there's other components of the final investigation that are part of the evidence package as well.
And I'm sorry if you said this, but were these the only two individuals living in that?
In and out of the home, but they have since moved out.
So St. DCF had all this information, the principal.
Two siblings in and out. When was the last time the sisters were in that house? Because that means they also had knowledge if they were in that house recently. You want me to believe they never went to see their mother? They never knew about the locked door. They never saw the locked door. I'm a lot of things, but dumb ain't it. Dumb ain't one of them. So we're also now talking about two siblings that had knowledge of an abused child in a room. And you thought that was okay to walk around knowing your mother and a father or whomever were abusing another child in the house? And you never went to school and told nobody. You didn't tell a neighbor. You didn't tell a friend. You became an adult and you knew of this other adult living in a house, locked in a room. You don't say nothing. Okay. So now we're talking about a total of at least 4 conspirators, 1 dead.
share any of that with police?
You're going to have to talk to DCF about what their protocol is on when they share information with police. DCF does work closely with police departments and provides a lot of information to police departments in a number of different ways. I don't know what their protocol is on when they share that information, so that would be something that they would have to respond to.
How is the victim doing now? Obviously, some serious conditions.
Yeah, well, it happens 72 all the time.
What can you share about how the victim's doing?
Right, so obviously he's got a lot of mental health issues that he has to deal with at this point in time. There are a lot of physical conditions that he's working on as well. I mean, here's an adult that was 5'9" and 68 pounds. There's some apparent orthopedic issues. The room was very small. Honestly, when I read about it and talk to the investigators and overlook the interviews, it was worse than the conditions of a jail cell. So there's a lot of physical therapy that he'll have to go through.
Well, how small is this room, sir, you're talking about? And what? What was it, just a storage room that he was living in? Where was the room? In the attic? Because you said it had a slope. So what's the room in the attic? Did they have an attic? Well, we find out this boy child was in an attic, but I see the window looks like a regular upstairs room that's boarded up. So I'm assuming that's where the fire was. It just so happened to be a very tiny bedroom? This is still bad either way. No matter where the room was, I'm just asking the questions. And once again, he's lucky to be alive because he could have burned up in that damn room. Besides dying or being starved to death.
Go through. There's a lot of healing that he'll have to go through mentally, and I can tell you this: our investigators, and I'll specifically point out Detective Steve Brownell and Detective John Page, who were the lead investigators in this particular case. But all the investigators, the entire Criminal Investigations Bureau, has been very supportive of the victim. They took a collection up and bought him some items to try to make life more comfortable, some clothing and some books and some things to kind of get him along the way as he goes through this process. But, our plan is to continue to support him. He's going to need a lot of support as he travels through this and tries to figure out how to navigate what is occurring and what the future holds for him.
Chief, I think a lot of people are wondering, where are his other relatives? Did no one else see this man?
Very good question. Very good question.
That they were able to, say anything.
Very good question.
Was his stepmother the only person in his life that he said he had 2 siblings? Where is everyone else? Where are all the relatives?
So the backdrop is being formed, and this is again why the investigation continues. It appears that if there was a very controlling situation going on regarding the victim's condition, his whereabouts, his connection with other family members, other people in the community, other friends. Information was very guarded on what was released and when he was able to see other members of the family and other members of the community. And I think that, I know from information provided in the interviews that there was a level of fear on retaliation on what would occur if information was released or help was provided to the victim by family members.
Were these parents on social media? Everybody's not on, Facebook, IG, but were these parents on social media? Were these other siblings on social media? Because anybody that knew this man to have a boy child before he met this woman and thereafter had to have known something was awry in not seeing these people together at family functions, parties. So let's go there since we're now on to the family. We have 2 siblings raised in the house. What did they tell other people? Photographs taken. Nobody found a strange little boy. It's not in any of the photographs. Visitors to the house. Did they have visitors? When they went to functions, parties, nobody asked about where the little boy is. I'm just saying, make it make sense. So these people were recluses. They didn't go nowhere. They didn't do nothing from the time the boy was a kid up until 30-something years of age. That's what you're saying. This woman never talked about the boy. She never told nobody she had a boy in her house, living in her house. Nobody never noticed nothing. 20, 30-something years. Nothing. Okay? Help me understand. Where is the family? Because we're seeing too much of this. Nobody is inquiring about where the children and the relatives are that are missing. Social media. People are big on social media now, taking pictures, taking pictures, taking pictures. So these parents were never on social media. Their siblings weren't on social media. Make it make sense? No family members inquired about the boy. Never went over to the house. So that means the family never went anywhere where they celebrated Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving with other people. So let's ask that question. When you all had Thanksgiving dinner when the father was living, oh, you all sat at the table eating the turkey, and where was the boy? Locked in a room? Okay.
Any injuries as a result of the fire?
Smoke inhalation, to the best of my knowledge, I don't know if there's any long-term effects from what occurred at the fire, but on scene, he was treated for smoke inhalation.
Could have died.
Get out of the house on his own, or did firefighters have to rescue him?
He was assisted out of the house.
Will you be identifying him at any point?
You know, that's a great question. Not at this time, and I don't really know when, if.
Where was the dodo bird's stepmother while the room was on fire? Do you know how this is the stupidest story? This is a stupid, stupid story. He had set his room on fire with paper and disinfected. Smoke inhalation, could have died. Where was the stupid stepmother? Sitting down there probably trying to figure out how this was all going to pan out. How am I going to explain a fire in the room and the door is locked from the outside? Woe is me. Right. Oh, yeah. It couldn't have been Queen as the fireman, fire lady. Lucy, you got some explaining to do. Lucy, why the hell they got locks on this damn door? Lucy, why is there a man in here, Lucy? Explain that, Lucy. Oh, they've been threw me away, fired me, because I ought to grab that heifer by her hair. Why is this door locked, ma'am? Why is there a human in here, ma'am? Oh, yeah, I've been lost my job. Let me make that clear. As soon as I opened that door and found a human in there, and we got that human out of there, oh, hell yeah. I'd have grabbed that heifer by her hair and told her, why don't we lock you in here and set the room on fire and see if you can make your way out? How about that? This is atrocious.
Where's the mother?
The mother has not been involved in the victim's life.
From the beginning?
Pretty much. From all accounts, around 2 years old.
The suspect is denying all the allegations through her attorney. Has she said anything about?
Why was the biological mother not in the child's life? I'm wondering. Drug addict? Oh, in trouble with the law? Had him too young? What? Misfit kid removed from her care? How about we probably find the child was removed from her care and this dodo bird took the child in to only get with this woman to abuse his own son? Does this bring a bell with Harmony Montgomery? See, this is what's going on in America. Children are being removed from the care of an abuser to only go in the care of another abuser, relative, parent. We're hearing this more and more. Child suffers abuse at the hands of a mother or a father. Then they go in the care of another parent to only be abused further. And then it goes on for years, such as this story you're hearing. You rarely hear a story of abuse going on this long. Because this is winded. From a small child to 30-something years of age, 32.
How her stepson would be 68 pounds, for example?
Kimberly Sullivan refused to talk to us immediately.
I bet she was. I bet she did.
There were a lot of that was taken as evidence?
I'm 100% certain that we do. I'd have to confer with the state's attorney if we were going to release any information like that at this time.
Does Kimberly Sullivan, have any prior criminal convictions?
No prior criminal history with us here at the police department.
Well, she does now.
Neighbors were telling us that if
Hey,
they had
Gigi.
knocked on the window, they would have helped them. Were there any other attempts besides this fire to try to get him to tell us?
No, again, I don't, from what we've put together so far, no, and that's because of a fear of retaliation. I mean, he, in his room, to relieve himself, right, had this elaborate mechanism that he created where he would urinate in a bottle, and he had straws connected to the bottom of the bottle, and he found a hole in the storm window frame that he was able to put these straws through. And he did that because the storm window itself wouldn't open up, and he was fearful that if he broke that storm window or tried to open it up, that there would be some retaliation. So, I'm certainly not a psychologist or psychiatrist, but there's a lot of nuances to people that are victims and held captive, and I think that there's a lot of work that needs to be done with this particular gentleman.
So obviously the young man did not want urine to pile up in the room. So how did he defecate? Help me understand, because y'all said there was no restroom. So he had the craftiness to put straws at the bottom of a bottle to urinate and then let it run out of the window. So he was very smart. He realized, I'm not going to stay in my own filth. But how did he do number two? Just asking. Because urinating and defecating are two different things, if you get my drift. This is atrocious. And this is what goes on in the world. And you can't believe it because in your mind, you're looking at what was seen in the beginning, which is the same bullshit here. Oh, they went in, they didn't see anything. Nobody saw anything. But the people at the school saw something. But then when the police go to the house, oh, everything's fine. The house is clean. There's food in the refrigerator. Oh, social worker went by. Everything's clean. Food in the refrigerator. That ain't got nothing to do with the state of the child. You can look at a person and tell that they're sickly. It's just like when people have cancer. People are anorexic. People have HIV. People have lupus. You can see they're sick. Help me understand what the fuck you all were looking at with a fucking kid. You go into the house seeing a food in a refrigerator in a clean living room, but you still looking at a person that looks underweight and still say, okay, nothing here. Talk to you guys later. Are you serious? I'm trying to figure out how he's still alive. 68 pounds at 5'9". 5'9" is tall. 68 pounds is definitely underweight for a 5'9" man. And yet he was looking poorly as a child. I want you to sit there and think about that for just a second, okay? He was starved as a boy and makes it to 32 years of age to tell the story, to still have been starved most of his life. The signs, whether he said, no, I'm not being starved or not, you are still should be able to say something is not right with this kid. I don't care what the house looks like. I don't care that the house is clean. I don't care that there's food in the refrigerator. Something is not right. So now I'm going to ask the ultimate question. Did any of you little busybodies ask to see the boy's room? Checkmate. Can you please show me his room, please? Because had you went to his room, that probably would have told. Why is that? Well, let me see your other children's rooms. Well, they don't have locks on their doors. Bingo card. I'm woke. Are you woke? What type of home visits did you all do? Honey, you have to go past the living quarters to get to the truth, since you all were obviously blind. by an underweight. Hey, let me see where he's sleeping. Let me see his room. Let me see your other children's room. Let me see you all's room. May I see his toothbrush, please? I would have looked at his hair, his feet, his fingernails, all of that. You have to ask questions. Hey, young man, do you brush your teeth? When was the last time you ate something? Ding, ding, ding. How about that? When did you last eat? Because if he starts stuttering, you already know, okay, he hasn't had any food. See, it's all in the details. He can say all day, oh, I eat. No, tell me what you ate last. Tell me what you ate before that meal. What did you eat yesterday? What did you have for breakfast? So see, this shouldn't even be a story. Because if you ask the right questions, you walk all around the house, inside of the house, you talk to the neighbors, you go talk to the school. The little boy had no business still living in the care of his father and stepmother. Checkmate. I'm woke. Because his weight would have told the story. His face would have to the hospital, let them weigh him, and we'll get back with you. And the doctor would have told it. Yes, he's underweight. He's got bone density issues. Check his teeth. When people don't eat, they don't keep their teeth in their gums. Ding, ding, ding. The teeth fall out. So then you got to ask that question. At what point did he keep all his teeth? Does he have all his teeth? See, Queen woke. So this is a story that shouldn't even be a story. Once again. Thank you, Libby. Thank you so much, sweetheart. Because too many calls were made. And the proof is in the pudding. He was underweight as a child. So what the hell are we talking about now of a 32-year-old man? So what is the capabilities of this man at this moment mentally? Can he now go out here and work a job, drive a car, pass a driver's test, take care of himself, bathe himself? Does he know how to do the basic things that a human being knows to do? What grade level is he mentally? He had enough sense to put straws in the bottom of a bottle to urinate out of a window. But the point is, what is his capabilities at the moment? Will he be able to live on his own? And also, where is he now? Who has care of him? Is he in a group home for men? A group home for mentally disabled adults? Is he mentally disabled? What is the status of his mental capacity? Why was he not with his mother as a young boy? What made him go live with his father? See, too many questions. And how is he going to fare in the world? Because he's been abused so long, he's now got to learn how to navigate like a regular adult when he has not had that opportunity. So he probably has the mind of a child, the taste of a child. And that's scary as hell because it should not have ever been this way. He should have a full, healthy life, enjoying being a 32-year-old man. And he was not afforded that opportunity because somebody dropped the ball. There are too many people in this story that were trying. Principal, police, DHS workers, other siblings in the house, neighbors, family members. Somebody should have said, I want to see that boy and I want to see him now, or I'm calling the police. And when you all saw the boy, you should have removed him anyway because he was underweight. So all this BS the chief is talking about going back 20 years to check police records. Fool. The damage has been done. What's going back gonna do? He's lucky to be alive.
In that area to really determine all the impact and all the effects that this long-term condition has really brought on him.
I take it you haven't had it.
Yes, they do need to be charged.
33 years of law enforcement, this is the worst treatment of humanity that I've ever witnessed, right? I mean, honestly, when we first started talking about it, we really couldn't believe it. It took a lot of convincing amongst amongst ourselves to just really accept what was going on. And it's really hard to talk about still. I mean, it's shuddering to think that someone would treat any person, let alone a family member or someone that was entrusted as a guardian or a parental figure in this way.
Mayor, just can you also share your personal thoughts and reactions knowing something so disturbing happened in this community?
As I said before, it's just unfathomable that anyone could treat someone this way, as the chief said, especially within the relationship that they had. It's devastating, and we're going to make sure that the systems are working into the future to see what might have happened 20 years ago when this may have been reported. But at this point, it appears that this was just really an isolated sense, and that they were locked in there all by themselves. And through fear and intimidation, she was able to keep it secret all that time.
So when you're talking about the future and other children and other families out there, I mean, if there's no protection, and the kids are told to lie about being fed, I mean, what happens? Like, are they going to stay in these situations like he did, or? Well, there's limits, I would think, to what you can do. We can send people out to check and look at it. I don't know what it looked like when the officer walked into the house in 2005, what the child looked like. That's 2 decades ago. And so it's hard. We can send people out. We can do the checks. We can make sure that teachers, and administrators are looking out for children, notice some of the telltale signs. I think we've come a long way as well in 20 years over looking for these things and being able to report them. Requirements of what has to go to DCF have changed over that time. So I think we can continue to do it. But can I tell you that it will never happen again? I don't think anyone can tell you that, because there's a lot of things that go into this that, can help keep it secret.
Where was she arrested at 17?
I could get you that information. I'm not sure exactly where she was arrested at 17. And it's important, to piggyback on the mayor's response to your inquiry. If you see something, say something. I know it's a cliche, and we talk about it all the time, but of all the great work that the media and press is doing now on this particular case, and talking to relatives and neighbors and some school district people. I know some have said that they've made calls, but some have said they haven't, right? So if things are peculiar, it's important to notify the police department. We will certainly look into that information and take the appropriate action. And it may take more than one time, depending on the circumstances we find when we get there. And we know that, through history and through our work with servicing agencies, that victims of domestic violence especially are oftentimes reluctant to come forward. And we encourage people that are victims of domestic violence to find the fortitude to come forward, and we're here to help. We really are.
In this situation, it seems like, according to the police report, that his life became worse because someone reported it. And after that second DCF visit, the mother pulled him from school.
Correct.
But you still would encourage people to?
I would. Because you're not going to break the cycle any other way. Unfortunately, in this case, it seems as if an 11-year-old was taken extreme advantage of. And at that time, it's very tragic that occurred, but it will never stop, right? And this gentleman suffered for 2 decades because of that. It's easy to Monday morning quarterback, but I think it's really important to never lose hope and to continue to report incidents, especially if you're a victim of neglect or a crime.
Was he in the room all the time? Because there were some reports that he was in the backyard doing chores.
He would be released from the room anywhere from 15 minutes to a couple of hours every day.
Why didn't he run? Why did he not run when he was let out of the room? So this question can also be asked of the 3 children in Pontiac, Michigan. They could have easily left their fecal matter doom had they just walked out the door, but they didn't because they had fear put in them. I'm assuming he feared this woman probably taller than her, bigger than her. At some point, he grew. He could have easily knocked her down, pushed her down, and took off running. It's a wonder he didn't beat her to death when he was able to come out of the room. So I'm going to say this to this lady's face. Lady, you're lucky to be alive because he could have beat the brakes off of you when you finally opened the damn door. And you should have been scared of him as he got taller. This guy could turn on me. This person could turn on me, beat me up. This shows you how stupid you are. That you just thought you can just keep mistreating somebody and something bad couldn't happen to you. This just shows you how foolish people are out here to just mistreat people and think the same person wouldn't turn on them. Lord have mercy.
You know, there was some indication during the interview that although his dad didn't do him too many favors when the stepmother wasn't around, he would stay out of the room a little bit longer.
A news conference there underway on a very disturbing.
Okay. That's the story out of Waterbury, Connecticut, of a very disturbed human being who held a child hostage, and others knew about it. I'm not going to sit here and act like nobody else knew. Others knew, and they didn't do a damn thing. Let me show you a picture of her when she's standing in court, trying to defend herself alongside her attorney. This is Mrs. Sullivan, who has been accused of abusing this unnamed fella. I'm assuming they'll give his name eventually, but that's her in court. I'm going to give you a brief synopsis and I'm going to check out of here. Thank you all so much for your time. HuffPost is the source. Connecticut Wednesday accused of holding her stepson captive inside a small room for decades before he escaped by lighting fire inside of the home. Kimberly Sullivan, 56, was charged with first-degree assault, second-degree kidnapping, first-degree unlawful restraint, cruelty to persons, first-degree reckless endangerment, police said in an announcement. She allegedly kept her now 32-year-old stepson captive for over 20 years inside their home where he endured inhumane treatment. Sullivan's attorney, Lonas Colotis, told reporters his client maintains her innocence and called the allegations against her outlandish. He was not locked in a room, Colotis said. She did not restrain him in any way. She provided food. She provided shelter. She is blown away by these allegations. The first time authorities investigated Sullivan and her family was in 2005 when the stepson was 11 or 12. The boy's school called Child Protective Services to investigate his family, and he was seen asking other students for food, stealing it, or going through the garbage due to hunger, according to an arrest warrant obtained by HuffPost. However, Sullivan allegedly instructed her stepson to say everything was fine. They spoke to the victim at that point in time, and there was no cause for any alarm or any conditions that existed that would have led officers to believe anything other than a normal childhood. Waterbury Police Chief Fernando Spagnolo said at a press conference Thursday morning, CBS affiliate WFSB reports. Sullivan permanently pulled her stepson out of school on the second child service visit. The warrant alleges that the stepson, whom authorities are not naming, remained locked inside an 8-by-9-foot room, sometimes for 24 hours straight, although his father occasionally let him out. However, according to the document, the man's living conditions became worse over time, and his father died last year. Stepson was eating and drinking less, and a normal day for him consisted of looking out the window to count cars that drove by, according to the warrant. The document alleges that he lived in fear of longer lockdowns or less food, but on February 17th, he used hand sanitizer and a lighter he had received from his late father to start a fire by lighting a piece of paper. Police said Sullivan was already outside the house when the first responders arrived, but that the stepson remained inside where he suffered from smoke inhalation until he was evacuated. Authorities said that the 32-year-old was in a severely emaciated condition and that he told first responders, "I wanted my freedom," quote unquote. There's a lot of physical therapy and he'll have to go through, Spagnolo told reporters. There's a lot of healing that he'll have to go through mentally. If you know of anyone being abused, please dial 1-800-799-SAFE, which is 7233. National Domestic Violence Hotline, 1-800-799-7233. HuffPost is the source. once again, we have another case of atrocious behavior by a two-legged creature times how many? Because this is more than a one-woman army. She had help. And one of them is not here. He's dead. That's the biological father. You have siblings who knew of the abuse and possible others. And yes, it is sad to find other people getting in cahoots to aid foolishness, mayhem, abuse, murder, but we have seen it in many cases where other people did have knowledge of someone being held captive, abused, raped, human trafficked, so on and so forth. And they said nothing. You have that with this case here. This man was tired and he wanted out. So he lit a piece of paper, fire, sanitizer to try to free himself, as he should have. The sad part of this story is the obvious. Too many people had a bullseye view of an emaciated kid, starving, stealing food, drinking out of urinals, and nobody did a damn thing. And I'm pissed the fuck off because I'm sick of these stories. They are always the same. Coulda, woulda, shoulda. And as you hear the chief saying, yeah, it's easy to Monday back quarterback. Yeah, we can Monday back quarterback because too many times we're called. This ain't a case of nobody called 20 damn times. Why are we talking about a grown 32-year-old man after 20 phone calls made? You can tell he's sick if he's small and underweight. What difference does it matter if the pillow's fluffed? They got a nice area rug, nice car in the garage. What does that have to do with the child emaciated? So you mean to tell me nobody can tell that the child has been starved? Come on now. You ain't looking at the child and saying, yeah, he looked like he could have a few extra pounds on him. Did you check his hair? Did you check to see if he had head lice? Check his teeth to see if his teeth were brushed? Come on. You all got to do better than this. These endless stories of DHS, these endless stories of people with missing family members and nobody's asking questions. Hey, where's the kid? Hey, where's the father? Hey, where's the husband? Hey, where's the wife? And we got people who stay on social media, just like that bullshit out of Pontiac, Michigan. She's all the way up on the news. I mean, on Facebook, hell, that's like the news. And ain't nobody saying, hey, where's her 3 children? Oops. And that shit have told her 4 kids. Ding, ding, ding. And also an update to that story I forgot to bring you. Oh, my God. She is now facing KELLI BRYANT, welfare fraud. Ding, ding, ding. Because obviously she was getting care for her children, which she did not give them. So I don't know if it was food stamps, money. My understanding is about $30,000 she owes the state that she got. Don't know if she got this from child support or disability payments. Not really sure, but she is now facing fraud charges. So besides her leaving her children to fend for themselves inside of a nasty condo, she also was getting monies for those said 3 children. And before I leave, I'm going to bring you that update. This live stream was about Wendy Williams. Her niece is facing kidnapping charges. The facility has decided to file charges against the niece to say she took her from the facility, which we know is a lie, because Wendy Williams was already at the hospital while the niece was en route from Florida to go see Wendy at the hospital. So the niece did not kidnap Wendy. She took her to clean her up, get her some food, dinner after leaving the hospital. When she returns, they come up with this bogus filing to the police that she was kidnapped by the niece, when we have already been told by Wendy Williams she can't go in or out of the building without somebody letting her out. And she can't have visitors and nobody can roam the building. So nobody kidnapped her. Sean Puffy Combs, new allegations with a chief of police from Maui. He's been accused with helping aid in an assault at an apartment many moons ago. This part of it saying this guy who's now a police chief, that he's working security, private security for Sean Puffy Combs, and he did nothing on the day that she allegedly was assaulted by Mr. Combs. And it was a setup by her so-called friend who also knew Sean Puffy Combs. And then we have this nonsense here from Connecticut. The woman is facing, Mrs. Sullivan, a lot of charges pertaining to child abuse, kidnapping. 56-year-old woman who looks very old for her age. She does not look 56 at all. I'm going to bring you this quick update about this fraud, and then I'm going to check out of here. You all have a wonderful weekend. Please be safe. If you're here in the East Tennessee area, please take cover. We're expecting to have tornadoes touch down Saturday evening around 8. So if you live in my general area, please take cover. If you have a basement, cellar, your best advice is to go underground. Kelly Bryant, 34, is now charged with 3 counts of welfare fraud. Oakland County Prosecutor Karen McDonald announced Tuesday. Bryant was charged last month with 3 counts of first-degree child abuse. If convicted, she faces up to life in prison. Wow, wow, wow. Let's see what else they have to say about this little black dirty bird. McDonald said that a review of Bryant's state support payments reveals she allegedly obtained more than $29,000 in aid by fraud. The defendant appears to have effectively abandoned her children while collecting their public assistance, McDonald said in a statement. This crime is first and foremost a theft from Kelly Bryant's children. These resources were intended to ensure they had the basic necessities denied to them. The children deserve better. Bryant's attorney, Cecilia Curandongo Bonso, was not immediately available for comment on Tuesday. If convicted of welfare fraud, Bryant faces up 4 years in prison for each count and a $500 fine. Authorities allege she lived in a home away from her children, left them alone in the condo surrounded by trash and feces. Bryant was arrested February 14th after her landlord called police for welfare check because he hadn't heard from the woman and because she had not paid rent since October. Bryant moved into the Lydia Lane home where her children were found alone in 2019, according to officials. At some point in 2021, she moved out of the home and left 3 of the children there. The 4th child, a now 9-year-old boy, went to live with his father. Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard said Bryant's children, 15-year-old boy, 13-year-old girl, 12-year-old girl, were found living in a biohazard. Officials said they survived on weekly drop-offs of prepared food. Some rooms in the house had garbage piled as high as 4 feet. Deputies found mold, human waste throughout the residence. Pontiac District Judge Rhonda Faust Gross originally set Bryant's bond at $250 million, noting concerns of flight and potentially trying to contact her kids. But last week, 50th District Court Judge Cynthia Thomas Walker reduced that bond to $50,000 and ordered Bryant confined to her home if she can post it. The judge also ordered a mental health evaluation and for Bryant to follow any treatment plans imposed. The defendant is scheduled to be back in court April 15th. Sorry about that, everybody. That's the latest on Kelly Bryant. $29,000 in state support the past couple of years. $500 fine if found guilty. Also, she would face time in prison. This lady is, Lord have mercy. $50,000 bond reduced from $250 million. She has not made bond to my knowledge. 4 years in prison for each count. $500 fine. Thank you, honey. That's the latest on Kelly Bryant, everybody. Wendy Williams, Sean Puffy Combs, and this police chief, Maui police chief, who denies knowing the victim or having any type of involvement in an alleged rape. What I want to know is, sir, do you know Sean Puffy Combs? Because if you know Sean Puffy Combs, if they can prove you've ever worked for him, done security detail, you're going to have a problem. We're going to leave that right there. Wendy Williams, don't know what's going to happen with her. But as I said before in my earlier commentary, please go back to the beginning of this live. Just free Wendy Williams and keep it moving. If she decides she wants to go back to drinking, using drugs, that's her choice. Just let it go. Because this has now become a hot butter mess with this facility trying to say she was kidnapped by her niece when everybody knows Wendy Williams could not exit out of the building on her own. She already told us that she has to be escorted through the building. She has a landline that she can't even get anybody to call on the phone. She can dial out, but they can't call her. So does this sound like a place that a person wants to live on their own? No, they would not. So if she could maneuver on her own, she would walk out of there and keep it moving. Just free the woman, let her go. The judge, she's dirty. She feels like Wendy Williams is not complying with her rules of not talking to the media. She feels like she doesn't know how to deal with her freedom. But see, that doesn't make any sense because Wendy Williams isn't free. So what freedom are you speaking of? The judge also wants her to go to another facility with tighter restrictions, which would be what? Lock her up in a room like this 32-year-old man? Starve her to death? No phone, no visitors? I think you all are doing damage control because you realize the situation is out of control pertaining to Wendy Williams. The cat is out of the bag. She's unhappy. She's miserable. She's been tested at the hospital this week, and the doctors say she is aware of her faculties. And you all are trying to downplay her situation. Common sense should tell you she's in a better place because she's not drinking. Let her go. Keep it moving. Ms. Morrissey needs to be removed as her guardian, and Wendy Williams needs to sue everybody with a fucking pulse. Sue everybody. The guardian, the bank, everybody, just give me mine back. Okay? Because I feel like there's some underhanded shit going on here. Could be wrong, but somebody knows somebody. Because this has gone on too long. And if the woman is aware of her faculties, it is what it is. Just accept it. She probably is in a better place mentally because she's not drinking. Common sense. And like I said, she gets free. She decides to go back to drinking. Let it go. That's on her. That's Wendy Williams' life. Because let's be truthful. There are many people out here right now who are mentally inept and they use drugs. They get high. They drink. They're out here doing illegal activity. And they're roaming on their own. They got a key to a house, apartment, a trailer, RV. Let's just keep it real. People out here drinking themselves to death. People getting high on drugs. She decides she wants to start back drinking. That's on Wendy Williams. And that's just how I look at it. You don't have control over people's lives. She's an adult. She's not a kid. When I'm talking about a kid getting high and drinking. She is a fucking adult. She's 60. Let it go. Free her and let her live. Because really, this isn't normal behavior to keep somebody in a facility and be dwindling their money out, $13,000 a month for a fucking older daycare. Because that's basically what this Morrissey lady's doing. Getting a finder's fee, digging in that woman's account every month and taking her damn money, and then shelling out $13,000 plus for her to stay in this luxury baby daycare. Just stop it. Because it smells bad and it looks bad. And even if she still has some type of dementia, you're still mistreating her by not giving her rights to have people visit her, call her, no access to the internet. You don't have that right to take that from a person. And that's why we know it's more to the story, because you don't want her having access to anything where she can communicate and talk to people, because you know she is aware of her faculties. You know most of the damage done to her brain was from the drinking. Well, she's not drinking now, so she's not in that same state. Just in the guardianship and keep it moving. That's my commentary, everybody. Have a wonderful weekend. Thank you all for the kind prayers and sentiments. Once again, I have found out that my thyroid is not behaving, and the left side has a 3.2 centimeter. And I will be getting a biopsy soon. When I get the results, I will share that with you all. And we're going to pray that it is non-cancerous. And I know God got it because I'm a child of God and I'm highly favored. And I want to thank God for everything. The crankiness, the moodiness this week. I've been very irritable and just not in the best place mentally, even before finding out about the results today. But I know God got it, and I know I'm in this place for a reason. And I know he's got me in a work-type progress situation. I'm a work in progress because I'm human. And I'm just praying for a better situation. I'm praying to get somewhere where I can just get some type of peace of mind and battle this situation here with the thyroid disease and just keep it moving. And the other news I got today, besides the thyroid, it was a blessing as well. So really, you know, two pieces of bad news today is okay, because I feel like one of them I already knew wasn't shit. And then this thyroid issue, well, it is what it is. I feel like God puts everything, he don't put no more on you than you can bear. That's what's always been said by old folks. So I'm going to lean on that and believe in that. And I'm just going to, you know, pray that everything goes okay. I do not want a needle to my damn neck. I know that. They said they got to numb it. To take the biopsy. I was like, oh my God. That's going to be the worst part. But anyway, I'm leaning on faith. And I want to thank those who have supported me on this network and the outside people who know about the situation. I've shared it to another platform. And I want to thank those people for their kind words. And we're just going to lean on faith that God got it. And I'm going to continue doing me. And I will try to bring you content daily as I feel up to it, and we'll just go from there. And I thank God for the strength to get on tonight, because I wanted to get this information out pertaining to Wendy Williams, Sean Puffy Combs, and this police chief from Maui, KELLI BRYANT, and also this Miss Sullivan, who's been charged with elder abuse or adult abuse. Like, share, subscribe, drop your comments below this video. Follow the Queen on the Newsbreak app. Check out my shorts. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $BGANJI129 Cash App. Stickers and chats always welcome during the live stream. And thank you for the super sticker today during the live. Thank you all. Thank you, Brooke. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you all, Ice, Gigi, Carly. Thank you all so much. Those who came in, I had quite a lot. There was Gotrick in here. Didn't see you. Hello, how are you? Thank you all so much, Libby. Number 72, I think Perspective came in. Just going down the list. Laverne. Got a few little people in the chat. Miss Chick 10, Saeed, Aaron, Sue, Miss Sue Lawson, thank you. Sammy Nicole, thank you for the super sticker. Beth, Night Shift. Okay, quite a few people. Noah. Just going through everybody that was in the chat. All right, everybody, I'm going to check out of here. My movie of the week is Insidious, several years old. The Last Key. I watched it tonight. Crazy movie. I said, God, you do not need to be watching any scary movies. But if I find something else entertaining for this weekend, I will share it. There is one movie I just found. It's a movie about 4 Black friends growing up in the city, and now they're adults. One's been estranged from the friendship, and she's just come back in the picture, and one is, I believe, on drugs. And they're all at the hospital trying to get her help. So I think I'll probably share that. It's called, what is it? If Not, Then When? It's playing on Tubi. So I'll probably share that as a weekend suggestion. That's all I got, everybody. Prayers for the children. Prayers for this man who now has to navigate in the world. And just prayers for his journey, because I really feel sorry for this man, 32 years of age. Been abused for a very long time, and I got a feeling he's been abused all of his life. And I don't know where he's staying and who has his care, but he has a lot to learn, you know, being, held up in a house for 20-something years. And, you know, my thing is the allegations go back to kindergarten. So if he's 32, he's been abused 27 or more years. He's probably been abused ever since he was born. And that's, you know, what's the difference? 5 years old, 2 years old, it's all the same to me. Abuse is abuse. Thank you, Gottfried. Prayers for this man. I just pray he's in a safe place, and I pray that he gets the help he needs, and he can possibly be out here and navigate on his own, because, see, that's the flip side of that. If this man is not able to navigate for himself at 32, that means somebody still has to take care of him. So we're going right back into the lion's den again, if you are paying attention. If he cannot live on his own, work a job, go to school, get training, that means somebody still has to be responsible for this 32-year-old man. And that, to me, still ain't good enough, because we have seen, as I just said, children going out of one care into worse care. It ain't gonna be no different than a grown-up, because you have to have certain facilities even for adults, disabled adults, if he's indeed disabled, because I don't really know his situation. So you're still going back into the fire if indeed he's disabled, and now they got to place him somewhere and he gets adequate care in a facility. And I'm not trying to seem negative, I'm just keeping it real. You've seen what's going on out here. Homeless people, people are mental, no mental institutions. A lot of people out here that don't need to be on their own. They don't need to have access to apartments. They don't know how to navigate, think for themselves. They don't know how to act. They're on drugs, alcohol. They need to be in a facility. But the states don't have the money to house the people. And we don't really know the situation of this guy. And I don't even know where he's sleeping. I don't even know if anybody at the reporters even asked that question. Where is he sleeping tonight? Where is he staying? He's been with somebody a month now. Where? Who has him? How's he doing? Oh, Lord, what a story. All right, everybody, I'm out here. Thank you for your time. You all have a good weekend. Once again, tornadoes will be touching down here in East Tennessee. Pray for us. Ooh, Lord have mercy. It's one thing, it's another. And pray for the Queen. You've been listening to the Vault Excel. Thank you all.